I'd like to call to order the zoning board of appeals, Old Saybrook, meeting at 6:02 p.m. I'd like to stand and pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
First item, we're changing one item on the agenda. We're moving appeal 25/26-18C Gail Vonasek to the number one position. Could I make that in the form of a motion? Second. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, do you put it on who? Covered one sec. Wait a minute, who? We're gonna have Herb set in on that. Okay.
Just the first one or all of them?
We don't have John either, do we?
No, he's an alternate. So we're just looking to seat someone for,
Then we'll see.
oh,
We can change,
that's fine.
yeah,
So just for the first one for now.
just for the first one, so everybody can have a chance. Okay, so this is the field 25/26-18C, Gail Vonasek, trustee, requests a variance in paragraph 10.8.3, non-conforming lot size, 12,500 square feet required, 5,308 square feet proposed. Paragraph 224.5.1, front yard setback 25 feet required, 18.6 feet to Heartland's Drive and 9.1 feet to Gates Road proposed. Paragraph 24.5.2, rear yard setback 15 feet required, 5'7" to house and 7.8 feet to garage proposed. Paragraph 24.5.3, other yard setback 15 feet required, 6.1 feet to garage proposed. And paragraph 24.6.2, structure coverage 20% allowed, 31.8 feet proposed. I think I supposed to say percent proposed of the zoning regulations to permit the demolition and construction of a 1,379 square foot house and 308 square foot garage at 35 Heartland Drive, map 1, lot 52, residence A district, coastal area management zone.
Real quick, can we just take attendance? We don't do this one.
Sorry. Alfred Wilcox is not here this evening. Kevin Davy here. Andrew here. Lori,
Here, Kevin.
Marty here. Jonathan Miles is not with us.
Nope.
Rankini here. Bruce here. Here.
Perfect, thanks.
Who will be representing the applicant?
I will, thank you. Thank you for the consideration as well. This is the application of Gail Vonasek for 35 Heartlands Drive, which is property located in Cornfield Point. The application is to tear down the existing building and rebuild a house, two-story house, and relocate and make the garage smaller. We were here in November of 2025 and received approval to add a second story to the existing house. You may recall it, we reduced the gross floor area to 39.8%, got it under 40% and obtained setback and coverage variances for a second floor expansion. Since then, what was determined was the first floor is 8-inch masonry block walls, and the wiring actually goes through the walls. So originally they thought it was 4-foot block walls with, a 2x4 construction on the interior where all the design was. And so although the structure could support the second level, there's no way to reconfigure wiring and insulation and things like that with 8-foot block walls. So we're asking permission now just to remove the structure. We're gonna actually keep the existing basement, there's a full basement, we're gonna keep the floor, but build what was approved before up. The original first story and then the second story addition. All aspects of the application remain exactly the same. So the The setbacks that we sought, it's a corner lot on Heartlands and Gates Road. So setback off of the front. For the house, 18.6 feet, setback off of Gates Road, 9.1 feet to the house, 21.5 feet to the new entry. Setback off the side for the house, 5.7 feet. And setback 7.8 feet for the garage and 6.1 feet for the garage, and coverage as stated, 31.8 feet. The basis for the variances before, we believe applies still. It's a corner lot. So you have two 25-foot setbacks, and there are reductions in nonconformity. The garage is being reduced 100 square feet and is being moved off the property line. So that's an improvement from a setback perspective. There's a rear entry that's being eliminated. So that's another improvement from a setback perspective. And coverage is being reduced from 33.1 to 33.8%. So there's an improvement there as well. The only change that we're asking for is to allow for removing the house. Again, we're not shifting the house because it's going to stay on the exact same foundation, which is the basement. With the floor is going to remain, and then 2x4 construction is going to go up for the first and second floors. There's a CAM application here. The property is across the street from the Cornfield Point Beach. So it's a distance from coastal resources. The positives, it's not in a flood zone, and coverage is being reduced. So we don't believe there's going to be any impacts on coastal resources. So that is the presentation. If anybody wants to see more specific information, I'm happy to share it.
Just one small question. When you talked about the rear door, removing that, is that what we see from the street, that stoop that's there
It's,
coming up?
it's on the side. It's on the side of the house, like on the west side away from Gates
Yeah, I
Road.
know, it's like almost on the property line.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's close. It's I just have to zoom in a little bit. It's only like 2 feet off the 2.6 feet, I think, off the property line, so that's being removed.
Sir, anyone else like to speak in favor of this application, either here or online? Is there anybody else that'd like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody who'd like to speak opposed to this application? Anyone opposed? Commissioners, any questions? Questions?
We read the minutes, the letter that we received this evening.
You're gonna get, you have that
Okay.
letter. I just wanted to see if, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else.
We have a letter from a neighbor that the secretary will read into the record.
Says an undated letter. Good afternoon, Sarah. I just wanted to say that I totally approve of the renovation that Gail will be doing on her property at 35 Heartlands Drive. I'm sure that whatever she does will be beautiful. I honestly can't wait for the project to get underway, because right now our house looks sad and in desperate need of help. All the best to Gail and Ken with their new project. Best regards, Heidi Pascucci, 33 Heartlands Drive, Old Saybrook, Connecticut, 06475.
Anything else, anybody? If no one else, I'll close the public hearing. For deliberation and a motion. Commissioners, any questions? We always make a motion. I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve 25/626-18C. Gail Bonasek at 35 Heartlands Drive. This is a project that we've worked with this applicant prior and approved. Basically, when they're done, there's no other changes. It's gonna be it appears it's gonna be a beautiful addition to the neighborhood. We don't have anyone here opposed to it. We have one neighbor who's strongly in favor of it. The building structure was at 33.1 square feet percent, being reduced to 31.8. The gross floor area is below the maximum that's allowed. We have hardships and we have reductions in nonconformities. We have a corner lot with 2 setbacks,
We have, that stoop that is, visible from Heartland's, that is very close to the, neighbor. The garage, moving that to the south gives relief to the neighbor in the back, so I think it's a well thought out, well planned project. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other comments?
Do you want to add the CAM
Add the cam,
as an amendment to the motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
Thank you.
Who's opposed, Lori?
Lori, were you?
no,
you
I said, I said I.
Late.
It was a late eye.
Oh,
I have it muted, so I don't,
That's fine, I just
any
want to
noise
make sure.
doesn't bother anyone. So no, I said I, absolutely.
Okay. Secretary, call the second appeal. How did you have?
Thank you. Have a good night. Is, application 25 slash 26-15C, Jose and Maritz Cardoso. Request a variance of paragraph 10.7.1 and 10.7.2, nonconformity enlargement slash change. Paragraph 10.8.2, 10.8.3, non-conforming lot size, 12,500 square feet is required, 8,881 square feet is proposed. Paragraph 68.1.2B9, title wetland setback, 50 feet is required, 37.6 feet is proposed. Of the zoning regulations, to permit the construction of 3 cantilever decks at 10 Cottage Avenue, map 12, lot 116, Residence A District, Coastal Area Management Zone, A12 flood zone.
Okay. We'll be representing the applicant. The applicant, want to step forward, give your name, please?
Ms. Quackenbush.
Please spell that. Can you spell it, please?
Quackenbush.
Thank you.
Tell us your story.
We basically, the customer want me to, put 3 cantilever decks on the back. So they can look out and see the marsh that's in the backyard. And I'm not gonna touch the ground, okay, with any of them. I got an engineer who's gonna engineer, the prints to, cantilever them.
Yeah.
The 8-footer, if I could put 2 sonotubes in the ground, it would be appreciated, but if I can't have them, I cantilever it. On the
But
back.
we don't tell you how to build. it.
Yeah, no, but they're saying that I can't touch, when I talked to coastal wetlands, they told me I couldn't touch the ground,
Okay.
with them.
Did you? I'm reading. You know. For us to approve a variance, we need a reduction, nonconformity, or a hardship. Do you understand what that is?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your,
the hardship is I can't put anything on the ground. They won't, no decks, no patio, nothing on the ground. To get them so they can get a little bit of a view, of the water, and not being trapped in the house. So, we came with the alternative that we put some decks. They can look to the view. I'm in the building setback.
no,
I'm just not in the
aware.
wetlands, not in the coastal wetland setback. On it.
A hardship is something unique to the property, why this should be allowed. Or a reduction in nonconformity if you had, you heard previous appeal, they actually proved both.
Right,
So, but I'm really not hearing anything, and I'm not sure you really understand what our call is, what we have to have something to hang our hat on. And it's gotta be a reduction in nonconformity or a hardship.
okay,
Absent that, we're not allowed to approve it, but. So. I'm not sure, I guess what I'm saying is. That maybe you would want to ask for a continuance and research that more.
Well, my only hardship is that I can't put any decks on the back of the house because I can't touch the ground. Okay, because of the inland wetlands. If I wasn't in the inland
No,
wetlands,
I know, I mean,
then I can do it.
I know, and I'm guessing that you read the regulation concerning the decks.
The decks, right.
Have you read it?
I read it that they say that I can't touch, I can do a cantilever deck if I don't touch the ground. You know, if I don't put any penetration into the ground is
Do you,
what the
this is
gentleman,
what inland wetlands told you?
that's what inland
Do you have any
wetlands.
documentation to that?
Gentleman named Kevin, no, I didn't, it was just a phone conversation.
Okay, that's,
You know, I went to health and health said the same thing. He said, Tom, you fine because you're not by the septic tank.
well, that's,
And,
unfortunately, there's so many hoops to jump through,
Right.
you know,
right,
so it gets to us and we need to hear a hardship. You know, I can't make something up for you, or you've got to give me something,
okay,
or a reduction in nonconformity.
From the way I'm looking at the map, if I could just interject, the tidal wetlands are shown, the 50-foot setback, which runs way into the existing house. So it doesn't seem that it would be too difficult to get someone from the coastal department to give you some kind of documentation explaining why there exists what you're describing in your own words as a hardship.
Did they mention that you would have to go to the Inland Wetlands Commission? Tyler?
when I talked to Chris upstairs. When I did this application, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I had it all set up one way and they changed the codes and stuff and said that you're not going for zoning to build it, you're going for wetlands. So I'm assuming when I came here tonight, I've been talking to, wetlands about this.
Well, my guess is you're going to both.
Okay,
That's my guess. Because it even talks about cantilever decks. And whether it extends, whether it touches the ground or not, it's not allowed. Now, I'm not saying that it's an impossibility, but you have to come up with a hardship
okay.
or a reduction in.
No, but the house is FEMA, it's already been raised, it's in FEMA, compliant,
Yeah.
and that's why. They saying, when I went to zoning the first time, I said, hey, can we do something on the ground? And they said, no. And then I said, okay, what about we cantilever? And they say, okay, you can cantilever, but you gotta get the inland wetland people to say it's okay. So that's what I'm saying, that's why I thought I was coming tonight for it.
Guess is you're going to both. You're gonna go to wetlands and you're gonna come here.
Okay,
You do whatever you wanna do. My suggestion to you is to ask for a continuance so you can further investigate this.
okay,
Because if we vote on it tonight, we have to state the hardship or the reduction in nonconformity. So,
okay,
and I'm not here,
right,
so
okay.
I want to.
Right, no, I understand what you're saying, that, yeah, just, I got misled from upstairs then,
Not really.
cause I should have went to inland wetlands first.
Sounds that way.
Yes.
It does sound like that would have been more
And that's what I
efficient.
thought I was coming to tonight,
Oh.
the inland wetland, because when I asked them up there, I said, I'm going to zoning, I'm going to inland.
Yeah.
And they said, you going to put, to tell you what the deal is. I say, and they didn't really say yes or no, that I was going to.
I mean, if you're unsure of yourself, you may want to consider getting some outside help, like an architect, an engineer, or an attorney.
Yeah.
To help you through this, and,
Okay.
there's no guarantees.
Right, no, I understand that, yeah, I'm saying, I can normally handle these things pretty good, on my own, for the customer, because I normally got all my research, and like saying, I'm in front of the wrong people.
Well, no, I think you're gonna be back here. Yeah,
Okay.
but I really, I think you,
Because when I talked, like I say, when I talked to Chris told me that, Tom, if inland wetland approve it, that you can do it, then you in your building, you in your building setback. So I got no problem with that.
well, whatever happened, I can't tell you. All I know is that
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think we're really, we've done the most we can do tonight with the
Okay.
information that we have. So
Okay.
if you'd like to, ask for
right,
continuance.
so I'm gonna have to ask for a contingency until next month, and then get in with the inland wetland people and get some type of documentation.
Yes.
You can
Correct.
also refer to your application, the zoning regulations you were asking for a variance for. So when you filled it out here,
I had that all filled out.
yeah, and that's what you're asking for this meeting on this page right here.
Right.
Yeah.
I had it all filled out with all the stuff that was on the survey, because I did the survey, and then they upstairs took that page out and wrote that in. They did that upstairs.
Okay, because these are the zoning regulations that you'd be asking to vary or have a exception to a
Correct.
rule for.
Right.
So.
And like I said, I had it with all the coverage on what the coverage was, what the coverage wanna be and everything, and they said, no, that's not what you needed these ones. And I don't know where she got those ones from.
These are just the codes that you would ask for, the regulation numbers and
Yeah.
stuff.
So
And
you're,
this is,
are you saying, so you're coming in to ask for a change in the regulation as to lot size, tidal wetlands, and non-conforming and enlargement, and you've shown in the first two, this is on page 3 of your application, the section of the zoning reg saying you want to go from the required 12,500 down to 8,000 plus square feet. Tidal wetland, you'd like to be able to get a variance from 50 feet requirement to 37.6. And then the change proposed on the third section with nonconformity and enlargement. So I think if that's what was changed for you, then that seems to me that's what you're coming before us as. And I think per Kevin's comment, which was helpful, you may want to get something more from tidal wetlands before you come before us to say that that you were told on the phone and
Okay.
add that to your application perhaps to bolster it.
Yeah, I'm going for
But
that.
that's okay if they say it, but you still.
No, I get it on.
That's
piece
all
of
fine
paper.
too, but you have to state a hardship or reduction in nonconformity.
Okay.
Don't forget those two things, one or the other.
Okay,
Do you know where the 37.6 foot came from for the tidal wetland? Because I'm seeing it a lot closer. I mean, the whole house is within the tidal wetland setback.
the back of the house is already in the tidal wetland. By, I think it's like 13 feet. 10 feet. It shows on.
I feel like-
That's what I thought my hardship was,
Nothing.
because it already was in the wetlands.
That's the thing, I won't talk to you till midnight, you
No,
know,
no,
but there's nothing more that I can tell you. And so I would suggest that, do what you need to do.
Right, I get something from the tidal wetlands and then come back next month.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, you want to request them, right?
so, we need to open the public hearing, our vote is by 4:14, and our next meeting is. On the 8th, so it's early.
Yeah.
So it should be fine without having it in writing.
Okay. All right, see you next month.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Ready for the next one? I was gonna say, do we want to get our involved in that? Or do we want to get our attorney involved with that? This,
No,
You, can we just make a motion to continue also?
We'll make a motion, we can make a motion on this motion to.
second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
George?
Aye. Do you need something from the applicant in writing saying he wishes to continue it?
If he needs to use his days, like
Okay,
extra days if it's going over, but if they're just continuing without using the days in them.
okay.
It must be no different, but I'm pretty sure that's the. I don't,
Ready to open public hearing on the
Okay.
next one?
someone is. Oh, that's you. I was like, what's going on? Go ahead, sorry.
The next applicant, 25/26-16C, Andrea and Rosario Savastra, request a variance of paragraph 10.7.1 and 10.7.2, non-conformity enlargement/change. Paragraph 24.5.1, street line setback, 25 feet required, 13.3 feet to eve and 14.3 feet to house proposed. Paragraph 24.5.3, other line setback, 15 feet required, 2.4 feet to eve, 3.4 feet to house, and 6.6 feet to addition, and 12.8 feet to stairs proposed. Paragraph 24.6.1, gross floor area, 40% allowed, 40.66% proposed. And paragraph 24.6.2, structure coverage, 20% allowed, 23.2% proposed of zoning regulations to permit the elevation of existing house and construction of a 14-foot by 12-foot second-story addition with stairs and landing at 87 Middletown Avenue, map 13, lot 125, Residence A District, Coastal Area Management Zone, FEMA flood zone.
Okay, and will be representing.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo here in town. Representing the applicants, Andrea and Rosario Savastra are with us in the back row this evening. And to start out by up on the screen, I'm sharing my screen here, trying to get a paper and easels, which I also bring in case there's any technical difficulties like that. But it's always easier up on the screen so we can kind of move around and zoom in and so forth. So in pale yellow there are two existing structures on the property. Obviously, the larger one closest to the street is that existing house. The one toward the back is a large oversized garage that's over 300 square feet and even has utilities, that garage back there. So the plan is to lift and renovate the existing house, remove entirely the non-conforming garage in the back. So that's in the rear yard setback and the side yard setback. So those two would be eliminated. The pale red that you see is an existing deck of the same size of the proposed addition. So we're utilizing that coverage to do a 12 by 14 addition, add to it by removing the garage. Of course, we are removing coverage and we're also removing the floor area. So what we've tried to do here is balance the floor area. We're slightly under by a couple hundredths of a percent, but generally 40.7%, which is close to the 40% allowed, 40.66 proposed, so slightly under the existing 40.7. But the idea there was just to balance it, so we're not making that any worse than it was, and we're close. We're just a few tenths of percentage over what's allowed. Coverage is a bigger deal here. Obviously, we couldn't get that down all the way down to conforming. But currently it's almost 30% at 29.7. So in trying to balance that GFA, we also tried to reduce the coverage as much as possible. So that 29.7 was reduced by over 280 square feet to 23.2. So that's a reduction of 6.5%, which is a good chunk of the 20% that's allowed in this particular zone. So as far as the reductions of nonconformity, we think we check that box. In this particular case, we're slightly reducing GFA, dramatically reducing coverage, eliminating rear yard setback, eliminating side yard setback. And we're also lifting the structure to be FEMA compliant. So presently it is not FEMA compliant. The main purpose here is to lift the structure to be FEMA compliant. Add the small addition in the back, not add a new deck to add additional coverage, but to replace the deck with a two-story addition in that location. On the architectural plans, we went through those with the architect, It includes all the gross floor areas. We went through every, we didn't count stairwells, we didn't count anything less than 6 foot. Obviously, that conforms to your definition. But we really wanted to get that very precise because we knew that we were going to be close to that 40%. So we came up with 40.66 percent, whereas the proposed is 40.70. Okay. The variances that are needed for this project to happen are, you can see the existing house. We're leaving the house in the same location, just lifting it, putting a new FEMA foundation. Those blue rectangles that you see on the perimeter of the house, those 4 rectangles, those are flood vents. And then also in the addition there, so it'll be completely FEMA compliant. Lifted up in the air, the current house is at 11.9. And the new finished floor will be 19.5. So it's being raised in the air by more than 7.5 feet. There will be a drive under garage here. You can see there's very limited parking on the south side of the house there. There's a very narrow area there that they get a couple cars in, but now they can park cars off the street underneath the structure, which is a benefit of these raised structures. So the house itself will be essentially the same distances from the property line. And the same distance to the street line setback. So of course, we need variance to be that close to the street. What pins us in there too is the septic system. So you can see the light gray L-shaped long septic system below the driveway. And then turning the corner to the north there between the garage and the house, that is the leaching system. The current tank is the other gray shaded feature right behind the right here, right behind the proposed addition. And the square further back from that is a new tank. Part of this proposal, since we're turning the deck, which we could be 5 feet away with a septic tank, into living space, which we have to be 10 feet away. So we have to relocate the tank and reposition it there. And this all accounts for that. You have health department approval in your packet as well. So all of that is taken care of. So again, we're pinched in there, using the same foundation, lifting it for FEMA, keeping it in there, making it work with the existing septic system. For the 2 side yard setbacks, 24.53. Again, it's being lifted in the same location. So we're essentially the same on the south side and the north side as we are on the street side. The gross floor area, we already talked about that. Coverage, we talked about that. Of course, this is considered an enlargement. We're reducing coverage, we're reducing floor area, but we're adding living space on the house. So it's a change and enlargement of the house. So that's in there as well. 10.7.1 and 10.7.2 is just a change, changing an existing non-conforming structure. Those are the 2 that, together working with an existing house that we always have to add to the variance list because we're changing it and enlarging it. As far as the hardship, we already talked about the reductions in the nonconformity. We might repeat some of that here. But after the 4 pages of the application in your package there, you have an attached hardship. And since it's brief and short to the point, I'll just read that into the record. The existing property is an existing non-conforming lot of record. The existing house was constructed in 1940 in its current location. The lot area is only 35% of that required in the zone, which is 12,500 square foot minimum. The lot width is also non-conforming at a mere 35 feet, where 100 feet is required within the zone, so 35% of that lot width also. With a small lot area and all yard setbacks, only approximately 420 square feet of this lot, a 5-foot strip about 84 feet long. And you could see it if you look in the pale yellow box there, you can see that the dash lines, and it's labeled there with all the setbacks, front yard setbacks, side yard setbacks. This 5-foot strip that goes back about 84 feet. And we obviously all know you can't build anything reasonable within that strip without any variances. So any reasonable house and subject property would require variances. Of course, more than 96% of the lot is restricted by yard setbacks. So that thin rectangle represents about 4% of the property area, and 96% of it is restricted. So I think we checked the hardship and the reductions of non-conformity boxes here multiple times. In addition to the land-based hardship provided above, there are several existing nonconformities that are proposed to be reduced or eliminated as follows. One, the street line setback, the existing nonconformity is being reduced, and I didn't mention this before, but there is a front stoop right here on the front of the house that gets as close as about 9 feet or 9.1 feet to the proposed, or to the property line in the front. And since that stoop is being eliminated and you have the drive under garage, the closest that the eave gets to the house is 13.3. So there is an increase, even though it's not the wall of the house, it's to the structure. So technically there is an increase in conformity there, or a reduction of the existing non-conformity. Number two is the southern side yard setback, and that is eliminated because we're only 5 feet to the garage in that location. In that southwest part of the site right there, it's only 5 feet away. And since we're eliminating the garage and removing that completely, that totally conforms to that setback. Again, the house is already in the setback, and that's not being worsened. Number three is the rear yard setback, same as the side on the side yard on the south side for the garage. Since the garage goes, the rear yard setback non-conformity is also eliminated. And that's only 3.5 feet off the property line, so that's a huge reduction. Number four, the coverage is being reduced quite dramatically from 29.7 or almost 30% to 23.2%, much closer to the 20% conforming. Gross floor area slightly reduced, as mentioned before, from 40.70 to 40.66. In addition to number 1 through 5 above, the house will be fully FEMA compliant as well, as we mentioned before too. So with all of that, again, just to repeat, we're checking all the boxes. We have health approval, we have FEMA compliance. We have several reductions of nonconformity or eliminations of existing nonconformities, and we have a clear land-based hardship. So with all of that, if you have any questions, I'd be willing to try to entertain. Hopefully I covered most topics.
Is there anybody here or online that would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody who'd like to speak opposed to this application, online or here? Anybody opposed? Any final words? Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing.
Any questions from the members first?
Any questions from the members first? No. No questions. We'll close the public hearing. And thoughts, guys? Any questions or motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application. It's right here. The application 20, where's the number 20? No, I can't find it.
25/26-18C, C 16C.
Yeah, based on the reductions in nonconformities, we do acknowledge that there's the lot remains nonconforming. It's a small lot in a historically an area that was occupied in the summer mostly for cottages, and now it's year round. So there's a lot of small lots in that area. I think the reductions in nonconformity are significant and welcome based on the elimination of the garage and bringing the addition right next to the existing structure. The elimination of some of the setback nonconformities on the southern side and the rear yard are noted, and the reduction in gross floor area, well, minor still is noted. House will be fully FEMA compliant, which is a good thing. I think that it. Besides, I also add that the CAM be added to the approval.
I'd also like to, friendly amendment that we're returning 280 square feet with the removal of the garage to a non-pervious surface, which is definitely gonna help a small lot like that. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
We just were talking about last night, Kevin, so they were turning in 280 square feet of the garage.
Non-pervious.
Non-
Just want to make sure, I understand right, with the reduction in overall non-conformance, you really don't need the hardship as well.
You don't, but but it's, if it exists, I.
Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't.
Are we keeping her excluded for the other applications as well? You said you might be rotating.
Yeah, let's give Frank the last one. Secretary.
Last application for the night, 25 slash 26-17C, Stephen and Susan Versuti. Request a variance of paragraph 10.7.1 and 10.7.2, nonconformity enlargement slash change. Paragraph 24.5.3, other line setback, 15 feet required, 5.7 feet to dormer, 10.6 feet to addition and deck, and 9.9 feet to eave proposed. And paragraph 24.6.2, structure coverage, 20% allowed, 23.8% proposed of the zoning regulations to permit the construction of an 11.67 foot by 15 foot addition with a second story dormer, additions, and balcony at 16 Neptune Drive, map 4, lot 227, Residence A District, Coastal Area Management Zone.
What's up, Mr. Navy? Good.
The red.
Thank you. Again, thank you, for the record, Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo here in town, representing the applicant. Stephen Versuti is with us with his son-in-law, Evan. Evan also is the project architect. So that's one of the benefits of having an architect in the family. So, this particular application, is located at 16 Neptune, as you just read. By my screen. Says I'm sharing.
It says double click, try to double click on it.
Always got the easel.
Yeah. Let me just stop there and restart. And find something. Can you double click on that? On yours? That's just that.
Escape.
Yeah, it worked last time. No, just go to the board. We'll try one more time.
So we're gonna get an easel.
Yeah. Sure. Probably doesn't want to go through the system this time. That's fine. We'll just go back to the old fashioned way, and that's why I bring this. I have names or whatever. Choose yours. Simplicity.
It's broken, so just be careful.
Oh, okay, this is the one that collapsed the other way.
I think
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it, just be careful.
No, it really like fell apart the other night, the other meeting, so I just.
Firewood.
Someone went to move in and it just crumbled.
Perfectly to invest in
I
aluminum.
see the slivers up on top there, so. We'll just use this guy. Sorry about that, I don't know, the whole last application works. Things like it's just not going through the system. Is that, what is that green box next to my name there? Is
I
it
tried
like not
clicking it.
allowing me to share?
No, it just, I'm trying to click it, but it doesn't give me any opportunity to,
How about if you make me host or co-host? Yeah,
Yeah, make co-host.
that might change it.
I think the green arrows on your end somehow.
Yeah, it's just, oh, okay, well, we will convert. Same presentation.
Do you want me to stop your part? It says stop, hold on. I'm stopping your share and see if you can redo it. Cause it just gave me an option to stop your share and the green thing has gone away.
Okay.
If you wanna try, if not, you could, whatever. Can you see this?
Back to this.
Okay,
Strange.
that's all right. In the interest of time, it's all the same. This is what I'm listening to anyways. Just a little. Easier to see up on the screen. We like to do a lot of color and shading and stuff now, so it's a little bit easier. So the project is 16 Neptune Drive. The existing house is here with this on the center of the lot, that rectangle. It has a light gray kind of shade border to it. Similar to the last application, there's a rear deck there. And we're asking to add an addition over where basically the footprint of that existing deck in that location. There is a small shed in the back. That shed is pretty much right on the property line right now, just within a couple inches of the property line. It's a very small shed, but it is non-conforming because it's less than 2 feet to the property line. So part of what we're proposing to do with this application is just slightly shift the position of that shed to make it conforming, right? We all know with the newer regulation that as long as it's 2 feet from property lines, less than 120 square feet in area, and less than 10 feet in height, which it is, meets all that criteria that it becomes conforming. So we're moving it to the conforming location. So that shed does not count for the proposed condition. It does not count for coverage or floor area. Small shed, small square footage, but it makes a big difference because it goes from non-conforming to conforming with the regulations. So what's being proposed is that addition. And then if you look at the red dashed lines in the plans, those are the outlines of the roof dormers that are being proposed on the house as well. And the pink shaded areas are the portions of the proposed dormers and the portion of the addition that's in the side setback. Okay, so you can see that the portion of dormer there, portion of dormer there, again, within the existing roof line, but it is within the 15-foot side yard setback. So portion of dormer there, and on that corner as well. All the rest of the dormers inside are conforming. The addition is, you can see, mostly conforming. There is this sliver here where the existing deck is there underneath and is a structure setback to that line non-conforming. And again, we're building the addition over that deck area. The width on this particular one, well, let me tell you about the septic system first. We don't have a flood zone here. We don't have any coastal resources. All that makes it simpler. The soil is excellent, as good as it can be. There are 2 dry wells back here. There is an existing septic tank. The septic tank, similar to the last application, gets too close to the structure, so a new tank will be installed and reconnected to the 2 existing dry wells there. All of that has been approved. You have the approval in your packet from Pratt. In the application, we have, of course, the descriptions that we already went through. There is a slight reduction of coverage by about 19 square feet, but on a small lot makes a difference. So we're going from 1,092 square feet at 24.3% to 1,073 square feet at 23.8%. So again, similar to the last application, we have it's not fully conforming to coverage, but it's going in the right direction and it is closer to the 20% required. The gross floor area is expanding, but it becomes conforming, or it stays conforming. Currently, it's 1,322 square feet of gross floor area at 29.4, and it is expanding to 1,795 square feet total, so just under 1,800 square feet to 39.9%. So it's just below the 40% allowed in the zone. The variances that are required for this project are, of course, the side yard setbacks, 24.53 that we talked about, the north and the south side yards. So of course, 15 feet is required. And on the north side, we have 5.7 feet. So the existing house is staying, right? The footprint is staying, and that is 3.6 feet from that property line. So the dormer is stepped in more than 2 feet above. So it's not getting any closer to the property line. It's just less than the 15 feet. It's a roof dormer that is built into the existing roof and the existing footprint. Similarly, on the south side, the required setback is 15 feet. We have those two small portions of the dormers, again, built into the existing roof, existing footprint. That the existing house is about 9 feet to the property line. And the closest that the dormer is about 10 feet. So another foot stepped in from the actual wall of the house. The addition, again, the existing house is 9 feet. The addition, the closest the addition is 10.6 feet. So that stepped in. You can see the little jog there to stay in line. And we can't move any further in that northerly direction because we have a Vilco area. There is a shower enclosure that will remain, and then there's also AC unit right in that area. So if we slid that over, all of those items would also have to move. So we're trying to stay in that existing structure footprint, get a reduction in coverage, and not relocate AC, shower, and Vilco on that side. The coverage, again, the allowed is 20%. We're proposing 23.8%, which is a reduction, just to reiterate, from the existing of 24.3%. And then similar to last application, again, the two, since we're working with an existing house, we have 10.7.1, 10.7.2 for the enlargement and the change. Those are common on all applications that work with an existing house that you're enlarging or you're changing. So since we're turning the existing deck into a 2-story addition, that's an enlargement, it's a change, so we have to ask for 10.7.1 and 10.7.2 as well. For the hardship on this one, we already, again, talked about a lot of the reductions of nonconformity. So again, we have a small lot of record with a lot area. It's up in the zoning table here of only 4,500 square feet here. So it's about a third of the 12,500 square foot minimum in this particular zone, in the A zone. The frontage required is 50, but the lot width is 100 feet. We only have a 45-foot width here. And we're working with an existing house that was built decades ago, only modifying the roof, not really modifying that footprint. And again, staying within the footprint of the deck and adding that building there. So have those reductions in nonconformity. The land-based hardship is what we just discussed, the house in its present location there for decades. So that's not changing or worsening. We are adding some roof volume, just dormers only, but not getting any closer and making those nonconformities any worse. The deck itself, the closest the deck is right now, looks like it's approximately the same distance to that southern side yard. It's about 10.7 to the existing deck. 1.7 to the existing shed, and then 9.0, as mentioned before, to the existing house. So the closest that the proposed deck in the addition gets is 10.6 feet. And that is measured to that south sidewall of that structure. And the last line, again, just to reiterate, we have for coverage also. So again, with a small lot, we have that small potential buildable area. And the buildable area on this one, if you follow the side yard setback, you get about a 15 foot, you have 45 foot wide lots of 15 and 15 from the side, you get about a 15 foot strip down the center. The lot itself is approximately, so I can find, is about 100 feet long, so 45 by 100 lot. We have a 15 foot rear yard and we have a 25 foot front yard. So we have about a 60 by 15 or so rectangle to build in. And again, it's the existing house is well outside those boundaries. Now the setback line is here. And the other setback line is here. Everything inside of there is conforming and everything just beyond there is non-conforming. So in this particular case, we have reductions of non-conformity, but we are not worsening any existing by doing this. We're not getting any closer to any property line or taking the shed that's currently non-conforming, making that conforming. That would be a non-conforming south side yard and a non-conforming rear yard setback. By moving that to the 2 feet, we're eliminating those non-conformities and we're making that fully conforming. There is a CAM. There was a question on this one if CAM was even allowed because there's within hundreds of feet of here, 200-300 feet, whatever the distance is. The site is way up in here, and this is a 1,000 scale map. So there's no marsh or anything on the northwest side. The closest is Long Island Sound, and that looks to be, maybe 400 feet away from here. So there's nothing. Initially, the land use told us that no CAM would be even required for this. When they saw the project and they saw the addition, I guess, being 2 floors, they just asked for a CAM application. But since we're reducing coverage, we have a small lot, we're reducing the building coverage. It doesn't seem like it applies, but we did it anyways, and we filled it out and we, per the town's request. And we think that we meet all the coastal policies because of the reduction in coverage and no increase in impervious area. Okay.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor, either here or online? Anybody who would like to speak in favor? Anyone would like to speak in opposition to this applicant? Here or online? Hearing none?
Mr. Chairman, I have 2 letters in favor.
Go ahead, read them into the record.
I'll read them into the record and I'll give you copies for the record as well. And also, before I do this, Evan is here. We have the architectural plans and renderings here. If you have any questions related to that, we do get into the architectural plans on the last application. But if the addition is toward the back, we have the roof dormers on the front. This just shows existing versus proposed side by side. So you can see that. You can see the existing deck here and how the existing house is. And then with the 2-story addition, that does not come all the way out. There is a deck and then there's just a little covered patio area down below. So if you have any specific questions related to that, Evan could certainly answer those. But while we're on this subject, 2 letters in favor. The first one says, to whom it may concern, I have talked with Susie and Steve Pursuti and understand they plan to update their home at 16 Neptune Drive. I am aware of the project plans and support their project. And this is Patricia and the other name? Patty and Ed.
The north side.
Veselak?
Yep.
Veselak. 18 Neptune Drive. So they're on the north side, which is here. And then the second one is Similar, I have talked with Suzie and Steve Pursuti and understand they plan to update their home at 16 Neptune Drive. I'm aware of the project plans and support their project. And this is Elio Machetta,
Yeah, he's directly across the street.
directly across the street at number 17.
Online, I don't know if that makes a difference, but.
Oh, okay. These, I'll pass these down. Those are the copies of those two letters for the record. And if you have any questions related to the house, the dormers, Evan will come up and answer those questions for you. Otherwise, I'll try to do my best.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have one, Joe, if you take out the nonconformity that's removed or lessened when you move the shed, is there still an overall reduction in nonconformity? Just ignoring the shed. Everything else you're doing, what is the net result in nonconformity?
So the biggest one is the reduction in, since we're using an existing footprint, we can't really grab any setback there. On the last application, we were raising the house with a drive-in garage, so we were able to take out the front stoop, which helped us in the front yard setback. Here, we don't have that, we're not. in a
I'll make
flood
it easy for you. Do you
Yep.
need the shed? Do you need to relocate the shed to have an overall reduction?
So with the shed, it brings the coverage down a total of 18 square feet, so relocating the shed helps us have a reduction in coverage.
You need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the other logical question that comes up is, when was that shed put in?
It's pretty-
Was that done here? You know, was that approved by the zoning board of appeals?
It's a very old shed, I don't know, it's probably as old as the house when I saw
Yeah,
it.
it was, buy it.
And you bought it when,
15.
and so they bought it 11 years ago, it was there, but that shed
It
is
was-
more than 11 years old.
That would have come up as. If it came before ZBA.
Yeah.
He would have known that in his research and would have brought that to our attention, but it's an existing non-conformity that's been approved.
Yeah, it's a fair question, the shed is there and it's been there a while, just by going, I don't know if anybody went up to see the property, but if you see the shed, it's an old style, kind of Yankee home builder shed, probably, built it himself in that location. But yes, I mean, it is, so we have a side yard and we have a rear yard that's eliminated by moving that shed. I know it's a small thing, but if it was a 10 by 12 shed, it would be the same assistance. 2 years ago, I believe, or 2.5 years ago, we updated that regulation to allow sheds on these lots to be at least 2 feet from property lines with those certain criteria and not count toward coverage or floor area. And that's used almost in every application now. That's done to be conforming. So the argument is that it's not conforming now, and it's going to be conforming when it moves. And because of that, we get a 32, I think it's a 32 square foot shed. 4.2 feet by 7, it's like a garden shed, 4.2 feet by 7.8 shed, so it's 30-ish square feet. And we're reducing the coverage by, I think, 19 square feet. So there's maybe 11 with the steps in there, there might be 11 square feet more being added, but then we get the credit of the deck, so the balance there is a slight reduction down closer to the 20. It's a fair question and a good question.
Any other questions? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any discussion? Motions? No, I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve 25/26-17C at 16 Neptune Drive. In my motion includes approval of the CAM. We've noticed we've had a very detailed presentation. Some good questions have been answered. Anytime we have a small lot and there's a reduction in nonconformity, this is really the only chance that we have to clean these, even small things up. There's a small reduction in building and structure coverage. The shed on both the rear and sideline. Upgrading your septic system with CRAD is approved it. And I feel that it's been a well thought out project where they're staying within the existing footprint and not even going to the maximum on the second floor where it's kicked in, particularly on one side. So they've thought it out, they've been reasonable, and I think with the reduction in nonconformity, I would finish my motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving along on our agenda. We have minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes or any changes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 11th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously passes. There's no correspondence or announcements, committee representative staff reports. So I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
So,
Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.